Welcome to From Small Towns to Global Stages, a think tank media podcast. Hosted by Dru Daniels, this show explores the journey from local beginnings to global opportunities in the world of events, blending real stories, industry insight, and the human side of building a career. Start small, show up big. Here we go.
Hello, lovely people, and welcome back to From Small Towns to Global Stages. So this is Dru, your host, as usual, and today we have Miss Cathy Vijeh. So, Cathy, welcome. I'm so excited. This has been a long time coming.
Very excited to be here, Dru. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so excited. I think we're going to have such a blast. So, after talking to you, obviously, personally, but you're currently the Senior Director of Events and Industry Relations at the American Epilepsy Society,
Correct.
which I believe, after looking at your LinkedIn, you've been there for about a year now.
Mhm.
But in previous, you were the Director of Global Events at the International Society for STEM Research for about 6 years, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, so my first question is how did you get involved in the International Society for Stem Cell Research, but also just in events in general?
Events in general. So I'm going to take it way back.
Okay.
I'm going to take it way back and take you on a little journey here. So um, I initially got involved in events. It was just kind of happenstance. I was working on the corporate side. I was working for a food manufacturing company, and I was an executive assistant there. And my boss had asked me. He said, "Hey, do you want to help produce some meetings for our sales teams and our operations teams?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll do that." I thought it was something new. I didn't have any experience at it. So I started doing that, and within a couple of years, we were having a number of these meetings every single year, bringing our sales teams together and our operations teams. So these are the people who ran all of the factories, and I really got the bug. And we were traveling all around the United States to different areas and hosting these meetings. And I realized that, I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do career wise, and started looking into meeting planning as an actual career. Realized I can go in one of two routes. I could go down the corporate path, or I could do the not for profit path. Being from the Chicago area, it kind of worked out well that I just happened to choose the not-for-profit path because it's the second largest market in the country. So I started this journey with ISACA, which is ISACA is it's not-for-profit for IT audit and cybersecurity professionals. So that's really where I started all of this on the not-for-profit side. That was global as well. So it
Okay.
just so happened that I went from this food manufacturing company that happened to be a Japanese-owned manufacturing company. So that was kind of a segue into there.
Right.
Jumped over to ISACA, which was cybersecurity and IT audit that was global, and worked there for 16 years and did programs all around the world. And when I say all around the world, 5 continents, we're everywhere. Left there
Right.
and decided to go. I had an opportunity to leave ISACA and go work for the ISSCR, International Society for Stem Cell Research, another global organization. And that was
Right.
at a director's level. And what I was looking for with that one was something that was a little smaller than where I was at, because we really grew at ISACA. We grew our programs and grew the organization. It was an incredible journey. But I wanted to come back to basics. So that's what I did
Right.
with stem cell research. Totally different group of people. Now I'm working with scientists, and these are internationally renowned scientists. Some of them were Nobel laureates. So, just really taking it just to a totally different level with that job. So I was there for almost 7 years before
Wow.
COVID, came and kind of interrupted
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, it was just
hmm
incredible journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. How 5 continents is crazy to me. Like, that's almost all
It's a
of them.
lot.
And
Yeah.
like Antarctica doesn't count. Like, I doubt there's any
Yeah,
events that
no,
you get
that
to go
one's
on
not on
there.
there. That one's not on there. No, come on.
Yeah,
No.
so that's so cool. I love that. So what was it like transitioning from your international events to domestic events, which is kind of what you're working on now?
And I'm working on now. So, the interesting part about that was that while I was working at ISACA and then ISSCR as well, that there were still opportunities there to do programming in the
Mm-hmm.
United States, so domestically. So I was keeping for 25 years, I was keeping one foot in the United States and a foot elsewhere. So I was always
Right.
doing things in the United States. That really had never stopped. But doing full stop and now just doing domestic, there's a itch there. It's like
Right.
I still want to do it. You never lose those skills. It's a skill set that really does take a lot of years to learn. And I won't say perfect because you're never going to perfect this stuff. The world's a big place. But I mean, really to learn about business culture around the world, how meetings are held around the world, taxation. There's just all kinds of areas and information that you just need to learn, and you're only going to learn it by doing it. I mean, you could read it in a book. There's a lot of great resources out there, but when you're actually boots on the ground and doing it, that's just you just learn it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean it's a lot easier just to do things in the United States. I'm not gonna lie. There's just so many things you're not worrying about currency. You're certainly not worrying so much about global politics, the except for the attendees who are coming to my conference now. We have about 20% of the 6,000 people who attend the current programs that I host. 20% are from outside of the United States. So
Oh, wow.
still working with global, just not traveling there.
Yeah. Okay, that's so awesome. So the one you're planning out is about 6,000 people. Is that like an average size for what you've planned in the past, like within the Epilepsy Society, but also in the other
Uh,
functions you've worked for?
So for Epilepsy Society, this is it's right in line with one of our largest ones. That community continues to grow, and
Okay.
that's really exciting to see that
Mm-hmm.
happening. That we're building out this community, and that's part of being in this industry. You're not just planning
Yeah.
meetings. You're particularly on the not for profit side. You're having these incredible opportunities to really meet the mission of an organization. So that's what's really exciting with this job, just building up community. With the global positions that I had previously, like with ISSCR, we were right around 4,000 with our attendees. So
Mhm.
it was a little bit smaller than this. Certainly, you have all the factors that are all the same.
Right.
Anything over 2,000 attendees, you're really looking at convention centers. The thing is that outside of the United States, you really are looking at convention centers or at least conference centers for any program that's over 1,000 people. Those really large big box hotels that you have in the United States, particularly in some of the larger markets like Chicago has a few, but definitely Orlando, Las Vegas, Dallas. They just don't exist outside of the United States. So you would be
Okay.
doing your programs either in a convention center or a conference center specifically.
Okay. Yeah, that's super cool and interesting too that they don't really correlate, I guess, depending on
Mhm.
where you're going. So
Very different.
that kind of transitions into my next question, which is like, what's the main difference between coordinating those international events versus the domestic events?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. Yeah. So, the first thing that really comes to mind with that, aside from the currency that's different, you're not dealing in US
Mhm.
dollars unless you're in Panama because they do use the US dollar.
Okay.
Um, but otherwise, you're working with the currency that is whatever's being used by that country where you're holding the meeting.
Mhm.
But that said, taxation, that is a huge difference because outside of the United States and almost every other country, you either have VAT or GST, so value added tax, or something like that. And those are the taxes that the government puts on top of everything. It's almost, you can probably say at least 80 to 90%. It's pretty much the same across all the different services and products that are sold in a particular country. So, for instance, we'll just take an example. Usually in Europe they're right around 20%. So anything that you purchase in that country food and beverage, audiovisual, anything specific to meetings, there will be a 20% charge that is on top of that. So the thing about that is that you pay that tax, but because you are not a resident of that country, and your company, if your hopefully company is U.S. based, you're able to reclaim those taxes. So if you're paying, who the heck knows? I mean, maybe it's $200,000 in taxes. When that program is over with, if you filed your paperwork correctly, you should be able to get those taxes back. Now, what's interesting about that then is that in those countries, you're paying the 20% tax, and you should be able to get that back if you've planned for it, and you filed all the paperwork all the way from the beginning to the end. But another thing is that outside of the United States, you're not paying any gratuities. So gratuities, all of that, it's built in. It's already built into the cost. So it's not like here, your food and beverage, many times you're starting out, on the low end these days, 22% on gratuities, all the way up to, I've seen it as high as 28%. You're not getting that back at all. So, that's some of the things that I always, when I talk to particularly Convention and Visitors Bureau outside of the United States, because I'm still, even though I'm not in that global space, I was in it for so many years, I'm close to many of the people who are in there. I always, tell them, look, if you're looking for a real easy sell of why if somebody's thinking of doing something globally and coming to your city, that is a really good selling point, because right now in the United States, once you throw taxes, which could be upwards of 10%, which you're not going to get back, and the gratuities and any kind of fees on top of it, you're easily at, many times 35% on top of what you're already paying for something. So that's something that I think is a real plus for those companies that are able to do programming outside of the United States.
Yeah, that's something I never would have thought of, honestly, like something I never would have thought of. It was so funny. I got the opportunity to go on a trip a couple weeks ago, and not a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, out of the country, and a bunch of the girls were so excited to go like buy different things because they're like, we can get our money back, like we can get our money back. So
Right.
I had no idea what it meant. They were just excited about it. So, but yeah, so they claimed them at customs. So that was just something I never would have thought of. And then, so how did you learn about these things? Like, was it like
Oh my
learning on the
gosh.
job? Like, did somebody teach you, or did you kind of just have to figure it out?
Learning on the job, 100%. So, one thing I can say is I've been doing this for so many years that when I started with the global in particular, I was always looking for a mentor. Where are the mentors? Who are the other people who are doing global? And I just wasn't finding them. So, the years are going by and I'm just trying to figure out, okay, this is working, that's not working, a lot of failures in between. But hey, when it comes to, this industry, there's always going to be a lot of failures. It's how you save yourself, what things are happening. So it really was just asking around, like anybody I would meet that happens to do global, I would just have my list of questions. Hey, what do you do about this? Who do you know that might do this? VAT reclamation. Do you have a good VAT reclamation company you work with? What about shipping? What about like all of those things? So just PCMA has been like just an incredible resource for me, being a member of that organization. But then also just ensuring that I'm, having those great conversations with other planners, also leaning into the Convention and Visitors Bureaus throughout the world. They've been really helpful, providing a lot of information and resources. But by and large, it was really learning on the job and figuring out on my own, and just kind of making the mistakes. But now I can honestly say, so many years, have gone by that I have a wealth of knowledge, and I do like to share it with anybody who is interested, because I didn't come by this information easily. And so I just would like to make that path a lot easier for other people.
That's so great to hear. And I'm sure everybody who listens loves that as well, because that's so awesome. It's a great way to give back too. So
It
I love
is.
that.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Okay, so we're gonna transition just a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's gonna kind of go off the CVBs. So as we were kind of figuring out what we wanted to talk about, you mentioned safety, and so how does that work with like keeping your attendees safe? And like, do you just work directly with the CVB to like kind of contact local law enforcement and things like that, or do you just like once they leave your space, it's like they're adults and they have to make their own decisions type?
No, I mean, so one of the things we have as events professionals is a phrase that's called duty of care. And duty of care is what that means is that we are responsible for the safety and the health as much as we can be of all of our attendees. I don't like to think about that too much because that's a ton of responsibility and it's really, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a
Mhm.
reality. So it's kind of built in then to what we do. Talking to the Convention and Visitors Bureaus, be it in the United States or elsewhere, always finding out, what is the security situation in that particular city, what's going on. I always watch the news and particularly when I was doing programs outside of the United States, BBC was kind of my best friend. I was always paying attention to that, what's happening in those countries, what's the politics. You could always find out a lot about that and what the security was, but working closely with the CVBs to ask them what kind of security they can assist with. Are there certain, areas or aspects, things that are going on in the city that we need to avoid? So that was always really helpful. I will say that outside of the United States, CVBs are, and in the United States too, they're really helpful. But outside of the United States, they're incredibly helpful with that. It's unfortunate, but you're always just one security incident away from disaster and bad PR, unfortunately, but that's true. So, I mean, there's certain places where I've held events where, some people would say, wow, that's, really a place that might have, questionable, I guess, security, but some of the places I felt like most safe and that I talk very positively about. I mean, one that really comes to mind is Colombia. I did a lot of programs in Bogota and Medellin, and both cities, tend to still have a reputation of being really rough places to be, but I didn't find that at all. Certainly, it's just like any other city. You're going to be careful in certain areas, but definitely not. It's outlived the reputation that it had many, many years ago. So when I go to cities and countries that I find that have had these reputations and I'm able to disprove it, I am their biggest supporter, say, no, I
Yeah.
really think that, you should go there, go to Colombia, go see what that's like, go to Panama. These are all really, really great places that I think, particularly for Americans, when they think of, oh my gosh, going there, it's going to be so dangerous. Yeah, not the case.
That's
Yeah,
good to hear though.
yeah, it
To-
really is.
Yeah, especially with the stigma around definitely Colombia, because I've heard that too. Like it's highly
Yeah,
debatable. That's what I've heard at least. So, but
yeah.
that's good to know that like you can still go there, enjoy your time, and not
Oh,
feel
totally,
unsafe. So that's
totally,
awesome.
totally. Yeah.
So this has been great, and I have a final question as we start to wrap up. So, what is one of your biggest pieces of advice for someone wanting to break into the international event industry?
Wow. Um, Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of taking the chances to plan the meetings. It's just all going to be different than if than how you would plan a meeting in the United States. Ask as many questions as possible and lean into the resources that you do have, lean into those resources with the CVBs. Also, another area that people forget about is the organizations that you work for. Lean into the people that who live in those cities of where you're hosting the meeting, who are, members of your organization. Many times they know people that can help you. You make some really great contacts that way. And then it's great for them too, because it's helping them in their careers.
Right. So then, okay, I have another follow-up question
Yeah.
going off of that. What organizations then do you recommend, like associations for meeting planners to help build those connections before you get out and start like planning those events?
Yeah. So, PCMA, Professional Convention Management Association. On the flip side, MPI, Meetings Professionals International. There's some global ones, ICCA, ICA, which is the International Congress and Convention Association, I believe. Could be wrong, but it is ICCA. I think those are the ones that really come to mind. I'm sure that there's plenty others that I'm just forgetting right now.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. And
Welcome.
thank you for all the little like niche things about like the taxes and the safety stuff and like really those partnerships with the CVBs. They talk about that in school right now about how important
Yeah.
those CVBs are, but I never realized how instrumental they can be in their success, especially
Huh.
when planning those international events. They help bridge that gap of that cultural communication, I guess.
They really
Um,
do.
yeah, so that's super helpful to know. And overall, as we're wrapping up, I think this has been so fun. I think
It's
it's been
been
great to
fun.
get into some of the nitty-gritty of the things that
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought about.
I mean,
And
Drew,
I hope,
I could talk about this for hours.
yeah,
So yeah, 30 minutes.
yes,
I'm like, what? How's my 30 minutes already up? But yeah,
right.
no, it is fascinating. The world's a big place. And you just have to have a real love of people. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yes, I would agree. It's all the people person and the customer service,
Yeah,
all of those things. So, but thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you had fun. You say you
I
had
did.
fun,
I
but
did.
I'm
Absolutely.
so
This is great.
glad, especially a long time coming as we've been working to get this to work
It
out.
really
So
has
that's,
been. I
yeah.
know. I know. I'm so glad that we
So,
were able to do this.
yes, me too, me too. So, thank you everybody who tuned in today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, continue to have an amazing day, and don't forget to be the beautiful people you are. Bye, everyone.
Absolutely. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks for spending time with us on From Small Towns to Global Stages, part of Think Tank Media and Hospitality Nexus, a global human-first platform connecting the hospitality ecosystem in one place, like a career fair that never closes. Watch all episodes at hospitalitynexus.org. Wherever you're starting from, keep going and stay beautiful.